Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the launching of our Changemakers event series. We intentionally created the series this month of September to recognize that despite this moment in time of unprecedented challenges, there is time and a space for gratitude. So I'd like to begin by thanking all of you for being with us, for supporting the work of 10,000 Degrees, and for generously giving opportunities to all of our students, because nothing that we do, none of our work would be possible without you. You are all 10,000 Degrees Changemakers, and together we are creating a much better and brighter future for all of us. And for that, we thank you. Over this next month, we invite you to join us in reflecting upon a change maker in your life, somebody who believed in you, somebody who helped you or gave you an opportunity. And today, you're going to meet 10,000 Degrees students and alumni, change makers of today and tomorrow. And next week, you will have the opportunity to hear from more of our change makers, students, alumni, and our corporate partners who are making changes in the workplace. And on September 24th, if you haven't already done so, please join us and help celebrate all of our students and all of you. On September 24th, we are having our San Francisco Changemakers virtual celebration. So we hope you will join us and take this month to reflect on a change maker in your life. Our mission at 10,000 Degrees is about helping our students get to and all the way through college. And we are focused on helping students coming from low-income backgrounds so that they could go on to then positively impact their communities and the world. We are now supporting more than 12,000 students and families in 7 Bay Area counties. We have more than 2,200 students in college, and we are providing a comprehensive wraparound support program with all of the college and financial aid counseling, the college matching, near-peer coaching, scholarships, and financial aid management. Our students today who start at a 4-year college are graduating 80% plus within 6 years of their start at a 4-year college. And students who start at a community college are graduating at 3 times the national average. And our students, they are graduating with 85% less loan debt than their peers. And we have a lot more students in the pipeline that we're trying to help. But we know that current times have certainly stacked the odds against our students. And in fact, our students and families, you know, are being disproportionately impacted by both COVID and the deep prevailing racial injustices across our country. But our students and alumni, they are not giving up. They are sticking with their education. They are remaining connected to and engaged with their education. Our alumni are pursuing job searches and their career goals, all while giving back and by extending opportunity to the next generation. They are working towards a healthier life for themselves, for their family, and they give us all an abundance of hope for a better future. So throughout today, you will have an opportunity to support more of our students because our students need us now more than ever. And we're going to be here for them. That has always been our promise. And if you want to be a 10,000 Degrees change maker, you can join us today if you haven't already done so. You can also make a gift and you can text, just by texting change to 24365. And I believe that's 24 hours, 365 days a year. Again, text change to 24365. So thank you again for joining us and for being with us and reflecting upon Changemakers for this next month during September. At this time, I'd now like to introduce you to Christopher Gonzalez, one of our greatest Changemakers at 10,000 Degrees. Christopher is our program director, and he has been serving us in our mission for the last 8 years as program director, and under his leadership, his teams have helped to expand all of our programs and services across the San Francisco Bay Area, now into San Francisco, one of our larger regions, to Contra Costa, Napa, and soon to be San Jose. Christopher, it's all yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim. Appreciate you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the San Francisco Changemakers virtual celebration kickoff. Meet our students and alumni today and tomorrow's Changemakers. We're so excited to have you all join us this evening. And I think, Kim already gave me an awesome introduction, but again, my name is Christopher Gonzalez, and I'm the program director of New Markets for 10,000 Degrees. I will be your host today, and I'm really honored to be able to introduce to you some amazing students and really just human beings who are making impactful change in their communities right now. And yes, of course, they just happen to be our awesome students and alumni, but really, our panelists really exemplify the thousands of students across the country and really here in California who are part of our broader 10,000 Degrees family. Today is about getting to know them and hearing from them directly. And additionally, we hope that you will also walk away with some new learnings, insights that will empower you to be a change maker in your own community. And lastly, we really hope you take the opportunity to engage with us. Please take a look at the chat box feature. We will be paying close attention to that as we'd love to answer some of your questions and really interact with you in this space. But I think without further ado, I'd like to welcome our awesome panelists here today. And I think before we even dive into there, just for some quick context, a lot of these students on this panel today were actually my first cohort of students when I started here at 10,000 Degrees as a college advisor many moons ago. So I apologize in advance if I get a little bit of emotional, but this definitely feels like a huge full circle moment for me. So with that being said, I would love to welcome our team here. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and taking the time today. The first thing I definitely want to say is this is very shocking. Can you believe that we're all here today? I think the last time we actually interacted, you were filling out your college applications. So crazy. So I think, just to dive in, why don't we have you all introduce yourselves? And we're definitely going to kind of take it from there and, go back and forth with our questions. But, Kevin, why don't you kind of start us off?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. Thanks for taking time out of your day to join us today. We're all excited, you guys took time to come and hear us and get to know us a little bit better. My name is Kevin Rojas de Leon. I just recently graduated from the University of California, Berkeley this past spring. I am currently a fellow with 10,000 Degrees, actually, working with students at the 8th grade level at San Jose Middle School. And I'm also an intern with the integrations program at the National Immigration Forum based in Washington, D.C.
I could go next. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Genesis Mariana Higueros. I am currently attending Duke University as a PhD student in the Department of Mechanical Engineering and Material Science.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ishmael. I am currently attending UC Berkeley studying business and engineering. And I'm a senior. I'll be graduating this semester, but I am also currently a product manager at a tech company called New Relic.
Hey everybody, my name is Gabriela Servin Sendejas. I recently just graduated from UC Santa Cruz, and I'm currently working at Loomis Sales as an investment associate.
Awesome. So thank you all for those amazing introductions. And again, thank you so much for being here. You absolutely did not have to do this, but so grateful that you did. And I think just to kind of dive into these questions, and I think this one's a little bit profound, but, what are the characteristics, of being a change maker to you? What does that word actually mean to you?
I can take that away. So, the characteristics of a change maker, in my opinion, are somebody who's passionate, somebody who's dedicated, somebody who's patient, and somebody who's trustworthy. And just to kind of elaborate on a couple of those, I think, patience is a really big thing. I think when you're out there in your community trying to help certain community people, sometimes it could take a lot of time in order for you to, get to where you want to get to. And I try to help these people, get them to open up to you about, their situation and everything that's going on. So I think, having that patience and knowing that within time, great things will come, not only for yourself, but for that community that you're helping is huge. I think trustworthy is a big thing of mine. I think, when you're helping these communities of people, sometimes, for example, myself, I work with the undocumented community, and I think that could be, a position that puts people in a very vulnerable stage. They open up about things that, they don't open up on a normal day. And, they want to be able to trust you, and knowing that, they can open up to you about these things and maybe their hardships and all that. I think it's important to be able to get them to trust you and have that common trust between both parties. And I think that term is super important to me, because I think that is, I identify as a change maker. That's part of my identity. Everything that I do, with my job every single day when I get up, I get up every day wanting to help people. And, both with the National Immigration Forum and with 10,000 Degrees, I help two different groups of people. And, I love doing that. And I just want to make some change, help these people, go above and beyond and be successful. So.
Yes, and you're back with us. So welcome on board to 10,000 Degrees, by the way. We're so excited for you to start your fellowship.
Thank you.
Awesome.
In addition to that, I do believe dedication is part of being a change maker, and along with that comes initiative and resilience. So just to expand on that, initiative is, a lot of us have, a lot of things going on, but I think taking charge, if you see a problem and taking charge of that really makes you a change maker, in my opinion. And also resilience. There are going to be a lot of obstacles, but you can't let anything stop you from making your dreams come true, or from trying to help someone. And I think, as a change maker, there will be a lot of hardships. And not necessarily everyone will have the same experiences, but I do believe that being able to overcome those obstacles is a big part of being a change maker.
That's awesome. Yeah, right. So I think resiliency, I think being able to push through those things, because the change maker term sounds awesome, right? And also it's going to take a lot of work and consistency. So I appreciate that response. Absolutely.
Yeah, and to add on, I think it also, one big characteristic as well would be bravery, because like as my fellow, what has been said before is like, you pretty much are going into a space that you're not comfortable in, that you're pretty much presenting yourself to the world, and you're trying to convince or trying to establish the types of ideas or the types of actions that you think are best in your opinion, but you also have to be vulnerable at the same time. So yeah,
that's good. Yeah, right. So this level of vulnerability, flexibility, willingness to change in that, right? But yeah, I think totally piggybacks off of Genesis's, point there too. Awesome. Thanks. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, just to add on to that, I think like one thing is that just being comfortable with the uncomfortable. I think more often than not, when you see change makers in the world today, or even in the past, it's oftentimes they're the first ones doing it, or they're one of the first ones doing it. And that requires not only a lot of bravery, but just being very comfortable with being in uncomfortable situations, and kind of being confident and standing up for what you believe in and what you think is morally the right thing to do, or what you feel like having a vision for what you seek to accomplish.
Great. So, kind of to push off to this next question, I'm curious, you all are absolutely crushing it in the fields that you're working in or going to school in, that is without a doubt. And, why did you decide to actually pursue that career, that major, that passion? And how do you feel like that kind of ties into your overall goal of impacting your community?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it all started in high school. I visited Nicaragua as part of a leadership program, but it was really a huge eye-opening experience for me. I saw poverty and how it is and how it is to live on $1 a day. And so that really opened my eyes, and I knew that whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to come back to this community and help them out in any way I can. And so, time went by, and in undergrad, I realized that I loved engineering. And so I decided to focus on clean energy and just renewables. And my passion is engineering, but I think this does tie back to giving back to my community, because I do realize that I have certain privileges that others individuals don't, and I have this opportunity to get an education, and with it I'm going to use it to uplift other communities and other individuals who just didn't have the same opportunity as me. So my future goals are to bring clean energy and clean water, sustainable systems to these low-income communities, international or national or locally.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I remember that trip. I remember that trip in high school and that application process. Oh, it's so cool to see that full turn. Awesome. Thank you.
I guess I'll jump in. So I think the main reason why I jumped into finance was that at first, like, I had a different interest in mind when I went to college, but like overall, once I come back home, when I came back home, and then I would talk to my peers, and then I also had the opportunity uh, to go visit some of my family members back in Mexico. Like was mentioned before, like you can see how low income communities actually live, and just like taking into the perspective like as a first generation college student, one of the things that I notice is that we're not really taught anything about financial literacy. So I think that's the main reason why I went into finance, because I honestly didn't know like most of what I know today. So, and I wanted to spread on like what I've learned throughout the years to like my family members, and then hopefully they could like reach out into their communities and to the people that they care about, and to just like help uplift others and like maybe into more stable socioeconomic situations that they're currently not experiencing at the moment.
Oh my God, that's awesome. So it seems like so far, Gabby and Genesis, you have this overlapping theme, right? Of having this experience in, coming from this background and really wanting to give back with those skill sets that you have. That's really awesome. Great. Anybody else have anything to add? Okay, awesome. So next question here. I know you all definitely understand and have gone through our program, and, college is a game changer for so many students, right? Especially students who come from, low income, first generation backgrounds. But from your perspective, how has a college education impacted your ability to make change, to be a change maker? And how do you feel like specifically it's impacted your life or maybe those around you?
Yeah, I can try to jump in here. It's funny that you asked this question, especially right now in like a time of COVID, where a lot of people are asking about, the effects of college education and, all sorts of those type of things. But, in my personal experience in my journey, I think my education has actually been fundamentally the root cause of all of my success and being able to become a change maker. I recently saw like a video, a documentary, and it had a gang member, and it was a former gang member, and he was talking about the why he became a gang member and how where in the environment he grew up, it was thought that he was basically taught from his parents that going down this path is the right way, and that's what defines success, and that was the education he got. And so in some way I kind of reflected about it, and I'm like, wow, everybody kind of gets an education, but it may not be the right education. It may be education from parents or from your environment. And so, for context, like that just really made me realize how important an education was. When I actually was in high school, I was about 15, I was, about to drop out. And then I went through the 10,000 degree summer intensive, and that really made me reevaluate my choices. And I ended up going to an independent study program and then started community college. And so it was the education that 10,000 degrees gave me there. It was the right education that made me decide to continue my college education and to go further. And then I got into community college, and I had this misconception in my mind that I was basically educated that, oh, CC or community college was for people who failed or for people who didn't get into a 4-year. But the reality is my professors completely changed my mindset. I had professors from Harvard and all sorts of amazing professors in community college that really allowed me to learn and to change. And, even though I was so young, I was able to start working for Microsoft after a few years and then become student body president. And I feel like community college, the education there gave me the platform to do those things. And then I got into UC Berkeley, and I started, failing all sorts of areas. I had started a startup in community college that failed. I had applied to a lot of jobs and I did not get into any of them. I just had this major imposter syndrome, but I felt like I eventually got the right education, which allowed me to make the change in my community that I wanted to see and achieve the goals that I wanted. And so in the last few years, I've been able to teach a few classes at Berkeley, including one on how to become a change maker. And I've been able to get various different opportunities or awards or whatever it may be. And I guess I'm saying all this because I wanted to kind of make a greater point, which is that with my journey, there is a common trend, and the trend is that I was not born a change maker; I became a change maker. And the second trend was it wasn't necessarily about getting just an education to become a change maker. It was about getting the right education to achieve your goals and become a change maker. And so this is fundamentally why I wholeheartedly believe in the 10,000 Degrees initiative, because I really do believe that underrepresented students and marginalized populations and first generation low income students often don't get the right opportunities because the access to the right education is not there for them. And I believe that the accessibility of the right education can allow these populations to grow, foster, and actually achieve their goals. And so, yeah, I don't know. I do definitely believe that, education has been a root cause to becoming a change maker and to seeing everybody else in my community become a change maker as well.
Oh my gosh, Ismail, do you want my job? I can leave right now. You can jump in on it. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, amazing. Yes, right? I think I so appreciate out of all of that too, this, definitely, tying into community college and these myths, right, that are out there around college that students hold and have. And, sometimes, unfortunately, they have to go through the process and there's some reflection that happens after, but you've absolutely crushed it and are kind of an embodiment of that. So I appreciate you sharing that. Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to just pick up one of Ishmael's points. I think I really like that he said, you're not born a change maker, you become a change maker. And I think, college education is a big part of that. You sometimes you have these aspirations to be, make some change or help a certain community. But I think going to college, you really find out the different ways you can help, right? You find out different areas and different, people with different socioeconomic backgrounds and different ways, that they can help and ways they need help. So I think a college education is a huge part. And I think it's just one more step closer to what you want to do, whether it's with education, whether if you want, you want to be an immigration lawyer like myself, or you want to do something with law, anything that you want to do. I think an education just puts you one step further, and you just learn a different way. So I think an education is a super big component about being a change maker.
Great. No, those were clutch. I don't even know that I'd come up with some really good responses to those. That was awesome. Kind of piggybacking off of that topic, right? It sounds like there's this also theme of advocacy, right? I think in doing this work, in, even being with 10,000 Degrees as long as I have, there's definitely, this thing that students definitely learn and have in terms of being able to speak up, ask questions, and would love to hear from you all, and even through your experiences, how has advocacy, kind of fallen into that journey you've had in college, even going back to high school and maybe even your career, and where do you see the importance in that for families and students who come from these backgrounds?
Well, I know in my personal experience, I feel like advocacy is very important for someone who's, let's say, underrepresented or comes from low income backgrounds. Because, for instance, people might not know that they can get the resources that they can because they don't know how to ask, they don't know who to ask, and they don't know if they ask, they will receive what they want to, I guess, they want in return. And I think in my personal experience, something that I had to learn was that, for instance, with financial aid, there are other resources on campus that would help students who don't know who to ask or who actually need like representation. So it's much more easier to like go to these resources and pretty much learn how to ask, and yeah, pretty much like they help you out, and that's pretty much like a life skill where you know how to actually present yourself and to like make a claim that, hey, I need help, and you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. That's awesome. Yeah. Right. And I think, you bring up a great point in like for families that are first generation and coming from these backgrounds, right? We often don't know what we don't know. Right. And so I think, it's a learning curve, but it's also, like you said, it's a life skill that we have to get what we need to get, whether it is financial aid, which I so appreciate you bringing up, because if you're watching out there, students, please advocate for more financial aid. We highly recommend. We'll get into that another day. But I think the overall theme is, right, that, students definitely should advocate for themselves. There are resources out there. And, we're also here to support in that. Absolutely.
I think what Gabby said really resonates with me because I'm also a first generation student, and I had no one like before 10,000 degrees. I had no one who could help me with my college applications because I didn't have those resources. So 10,000 degrees was me advocating for myself, and reaching out to those financial opportunities. And one more thing I just wanted to mention is that consistent advocacy is so important because even right now, in my undergrad, in high school, I had 10K for my undergrad. I did end up going to a predominantly Hispanic institution. And so I did feel that I had a lot of support there. However, for graduate school, I'm going to a predominantly white school, and that's totally fine. But I do feel that I don't see a lot of representation of my identity within the faculty or the professors. And so I think, definitely seeing that and just, I guess something I could do for myself is reaching out to those professors who I could identify myself with. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that consistency is very important. We can't just, provide tools for college applications and expect it for us to succeed just like that when it does take a lot of work and a lot of time.
Yeah, that's great. And I think you brought up a really great point too, right? Like there are different ways to advocate for yourself. It's not just financial aid. It's not just college applications or, getting into a class. There's other aspects like having a sense of belonging to your campus, right? And seeing representation. And I think taking it a step further in acknowledging that, which I so appreciate you sharing, because Genesis, you are not the only student that is going through that. So thank you. And, there are definitely resources and things that you can do, like reaching out and attending office hours on college campuses, or even, support networks that are on campuses that are for a specific population of students to support them, right? Oh man, awesome. Okay. Anybody else that would like to jump in or add to that question before we move on to the next one? Okay, I mean, those were awesome. I don't know how I'd follow up with them either. So I think the audience is definitely chiming in and would love to have some of their questions answered. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look here. And you know what, I'm going to pick this one because it is totally relevant. The audience is curious, you all know and have been navigating, all of your systems and completely crushing it through a pandemic, which first and foremost is, such a unique thing, I think, to all of us. And, how has it been for all of you in terms of adjusting to school, to work, to your just own personal life, if you feel like sharing, with everything that's been going on in terms of the pandemic?
I can jump in on this question. I think, just having I felt like my last semester at Cal kind of got ripped away from me. Having that experience to be on campus was a little tough to get over. That was a bummer, but, I kind of just like look back and it's just like my time at Cal, like it was the best I ever had. And I think being able to adjust to that online learning was also a really cool experience. And I think it's a valuable experience at the end of the day, because I think it helped a lot, with my internship now and with my job now. Everything is working at home. I didn't imagine that. I really enjoy being, physically present, wherever it may be, just engaging with, people, in person. I think it has a bigger impact than it is over, FaceTime calls, over Zoom, Google Meets, whatever it may be. But, I had plans of going to, I applied for the UCDC program, and that's where I got the internship from. And I had all of my intentions of being in DC now, and just kind of spending, time from August to December and just moving to a new state and getting that feel for, what it's like to move out of California and, a different culture and all that. And I think, it's a bummer, during the pandemic that I wasn't able to do that. But I think I was able to still participate in the internship, and then also like become a fellow at 10,000 Degrees. So I think it was kind of a little blessing in disguise. I get a little bit of best of both worlds, a little bit of experience on both sides. So, even though it's been a bummer, I think there is a little bit of a blessing in disguise with this, and I've learned a lot, and it's taken a lot of adapting, but I think it's valuable experience that I think myself and many more people can take on. So
awesome. Thank you. Anybody else have anything to share on that question? It's a good one.
I guess I would just want to reiterate what Kevin said, because when the pandemic first started, it was really, really hard for me, especially I do live alone, so having no social communication was a lot. It was a lot on my mental health, to be honest, but I think I also had to look at the positives, in the sense that, okay, I'm going to have a lot more time now, and I could focus on myself and do some of the things that I didn't necessarily have the time to do when, I was running to campus back and forth. And so I think definitely having a positive outlook will change your, your perspective and mindset. And it's so important. I know it's like really small and maybe it could be hard to do, but it does make a big difference.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, it's so interesting to hear your responses, and that it is challenging, and I am just floored. Like, there's this silver lining that you both just described, right? And you're still going, like you're still doing it, and you're still crushing it, right? So I think that's just a true testament to all of your hard work, and I think being able to advocate and do those resources, right? And so I think with that, there was one question that totally popped out that I think we can speak on, but, the next audience question essentially is, where is it? There we go. What does it mean to be part of 10,000 Degrees to you? And here's the profound part of this question. What is your favorite memory with us?
So I guess for me, being part of 10,000 Degrees is, to me, it's being part of a community that, one, supports each other and inspires each other. And I've just never been in such a large organization that really looks out for my, my concerns and my success as well. So that's being part of 10,000 Degrees was such a huge blessing for me. It really was. And then the most memorable moment would have to be when I received my acceptance letters. I was actually with Chris and some of my other friends, and like I mentioned before, like my parents didn't really know much about that. So being able to be with Chris and my other friends who knew exactly how important and valuable that acceptance letter was just very, very emotional, and I was so incredibly happy in that moment, and that was probably the best moment I've had with 10,000 Degrees.
Man, y'all made me cry that year over and over. The acceptances kept coming in, Gabby, like everybody, and it was just the same. It was the similar, but y'all worked so hard to get there, and look, you're here. So awesome. Cool. Anyone else?
I can jump in. I think for me, I think just having that, unconditional support and a love from 10,000 Degrees. I think at home, of course, I've always had that support, but my parents, being a first generation myself, didn't really know how to help me and kind of guide me, through my applications, through scholarships, through all that like application process. So I think having that like meant the world to me. Like, I felt lost at times, but I knew that people were just a call away. Like Christopher was just a call away. There was plenty of people that were just a call away whenever I felt lost. And I think my most memorable experience, just like Genesis said, I think the acceptance letters, I think those were an emotional moment for a lot of us. And I think getting those phone calls from people who just like, found out, it was time, all these acceptance letters are out. Like, have you heard from UC Berkeley? Have you heard? It's like these constant messages. And I'm just like at the edge of my seat waiting for that email. And then once I got it, it's like phone calls just started ringing in from people, and it was such an exciting moment. And I think that's got to be by far one of my most memorable moments with 10,000 Degrees.
So cool. Love that. Awesome. All right. Anyone else before we move on to the next question? That was a great question, audience. Y'all doing a good job.
Yeah, I think just to echo off of that, I think the community aspect of 10,000 Degrees is honestly one of the most impactful things that I've come out of it from. Just with even when with all of the anything like I accomplish or anything, it's always the 10,000 Degrees community always coming back to support me and being happy for like my success. And even through the hardships, they're always there. Recently I had my cousin pass away in a car accident, and he was really young too. And, it was a really down moment, especially with COVID. And I had kind of been going down this downward spiral already. And the first people to come back to support me were 10,000 Degrees. And it was crazy because before even family, it was 10,000 Degrees to come back. And so to me, 10,000 Degrees is pretty much family. They were the ones there to support me. They're the ones there to cheer me up. And, I think that I have never really found that in any other community. And so that's something that I really value about 10,000 Degrees. And I think the best memory I had was, last year, I think Kim Mizuka invited me to be the keynote speaker for One Amazing Night. And that was just one of the best moments like I've had, being in front of all those people and being able to share my story was just an amazing, memorable moment. But the sheer number of people who supported 10,000 Degrees was even more fascinating. And I think that in itself really went to go show me like how impactful this organization is and how much people care about it as well.
Yeah, you came for my job when you gave that speech as well. So I look forward to the next one. Okay, awesome. So I have a question for all of you now. So thank you, audience. I'm going to take it from here for a moment. Knowing what you know right now, what advice would you give your younger high school version of yourself? And would you do anything different?
I'll take over this one. So personally, back when I was in high school, I had this fixed mindset of what I wanted to become, of what I wanted to do, of what steps to take and everything. So I think reflecting back now, I would probably tell my younger self and be like, be open to new ideas.
Yes.
Be open to failure, be open to any new experiences because like they'll help you grow. And personally, I had a rough first year. I didn't do terribly well in one of my classes, which totally bummed me out my first quarter. And in that moment, I didn't see myself becoming who I wanted to become. And that helped me grow to who I am now and to decide who I like, the path that I chose currently, because it made me open to new, made me realize that there are other options. There are other options besides what others might suggest to you, what you had thought before. So I feel like it takes bravery, and also like what I said before about vulnerability, but also something along the lines of patience as well, because you're young, you don't know what you're doing. So yeah.
Well, you fooled me, but yeah, I agree. Awesome. Any other feedback? Any other feedback on that question? So curious to hear from actually all of you on this one, because I've had the pleasure of working with you in high school, and some things are exactly the same, and there are a lot of things that are so different.
I would definitely tell myself like a huge list of things, but I think the top one for myself would be to not doubt yourself, because I think, the society is going to be telling us so many things and how to behave and how to look and so I just, I would tell myself, like, don't ever doubt yourself. You're capable more than you think, and don't let others define you. Your voice is important. And then just to add on to that is that don't let fear hold you back, because for me, like, just raising my hand and not wanting to look, incompetent, that was limiting myself and preventing myself from growing. So I would definitely let others know that don't let fear hold you back, because that's going to keep you from growing.
Wise words. I feel like I read that out of a positive affirmation book that you wrote. Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, like Genesis, I would tell myself a lot of things, but if I had to pick one, I think definitely not to be ashamed of going the community college route. I think, being in high school and, seeing my friends, applying to 4 years, I felt the pressure to do so myself. Even though I was a first generation student, I felt, that pressure at home to like go to a 4 year college and, and set that example for my family, for my sibling, and then for, my cousins. But, when it really came down to it, I'm really, really happy that I took the community college route. I think out of high school, out of that gate, I don't think I was ready for a 4 year yet. And I think, going to a community college route, I think I blossomed a lot more, and I think I grew so much more, and I learned so much, and I really figured out what I wanted to do and, who I wanted to become. So, and especially, what school I wanted to end up at. The schools that I had applied to, I was like, yeah, I see myself here, but not really. But then once I was at community college, I was really able to see, okay, this is the path I want to take, and this is my goal. So for all the rising seniors, I definitely recommend, if you want to look at the community college route, definitely look into that. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You make your own experience, and I think you can get a great education anywhere you go. And if you want an affordable way, community college is a great route to take. So.
Yes, Kevin, we're going to keep saying it till we're blue in the face. Like, community college is an awesome option, right? It is a viable option. It's affordable, and it's the same level of instruction you would get at a 4-year university, to Ismael's point. And so I so appreciate that, man. Absolutely. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, I would say to have self-love for myself and for those around me. I think the more self-aware you are of who you are and what you can become, the easier it will be for you to overcome any hardships. And it's bound to happen no matter what background you come from or what ethnicity or where you come from. You will have hardships. And if you're lucky, you won't have as many, but most likely most people have many. And I think the way to get through that is just having self-love for yourself and realizing that everything happens for a reason, and that if you fail once, it doesn't mean you fail forever. You just have to kind of pick yourself back up and keep going.
Awesome. Yes. And so quick follow-up question, and it doesn't need to be super in-depth, but just curious. Would you do it all over again? Would you go back? Would you do college all over again?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
4 more years,
Yes, sir.
4 more years at Cal. I'll take that any day.
Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh, those were the days. Oh, I'll tell you, but more to come. Absolutely. Okay, so we have time for one more question. I think, I'm curious, who do you think is a change maker? Who would you say is a change maker in your life, and why?
Ooh, I can start this question. I think this question can get me in. This is like, when you receive an Oscar or a Grammy, you're going to get in trouble if you don't give a shout out to certain people. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just say, I think with everything going on right now, Changemakers for me are those, with the Black Lives Matter movement, those people that are bringing awareness to children in immigration detention centers. Those are, who are voicing their opinion about, the threat of DACA wanting to get removed. I think all those people, I think they're change makers. They're out there in the community. They're voicing their opinion. They're giving these people like a voice. And often these people are afraid to speak on just because they're undocumented, or maybe because they don't want to be stereotyped even more. So I think those people that are out there, I appreciate them, and it's a great thing. Even all different ages. We're seeing people as young as like 12, 11. Just like asking these questions. Like they're curious. They want to know, and I think it's such a beautiful thing to see. And I think, that's kind of been a blessing of the pandemic too, is just like seeing communities come closer together than ever before. And I think it's a great thing to see.
Thank you. Anybody can chime in next. No order here.
For me, one of the change makers in my life, but also the most important one, is my mom. She really, she was always the one to tell me to go to school, and she has always inspired me with just her own experiences. She got married at a young age and had us at a very young age. But even now, like after everything that she's been through, she went back to get her like GED. She's getting her associates, and I am so incredibly proud of her, because she's never she never quit, and she is continuing, and right now she's becoming like a successful real estate agent, and I'm so proud of her, and she's the one who has inspired me so much, and I just want to give a shout out to her as well.
Yes, that's awesome. Moms run the world. You never heard me say that.
I guess I'll go next. So for me, I would probably shout out literally my family and the support system that I've had from 10,000 Degrees, like past mentors, past like anyone who has helped me out throughout this whole journey, like they know who they are. But and friends, because honestly, I don't think I would have made it through college without my friends. So I give a shout out to them.
Thank you. It's so great.
Yeah, same thing here. I think I would give a shout out to not only 10,000 Degrees, of course, they've always been there, but also my parents. I think my parents have been fundamentally the root cause of how I was raised and how I am the way I am, and they've always been my support system. So yeah, shout out to them.
Gosh, y'all gave me the feels. Right on time to end this webinar with a good touch. Thank you all so much for being here. Unfortunately, we have reached the end of our time with you all today, but I know that I can speak firmly, on behalf of 10,000 Degrees on this, that we are so proud of each of you. And really just thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for really just being true change makers to our students, being positive representation for our communities, but like really leading by example, no questions asked. It's been so fun reconnecting with all of you, and I'm so excited to see you to continue to crush it and just do your thing. And I think to the audience right now, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed this session as much as I did today. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on back to Kim. Go for it.
Christopher, thank you so much. And to all of our panelists, Gabriella, Genesis, Ish, and Kevin, thank you for sharing you and your dreams and your goals and everything that you're doing to extend opportunity, and for giving this opportunity to listen, right? We can learn so much if we just listen. So thank you so much, and for being the leaders of the future change makers. And we're always here to support you. I also just want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors today, especially our lead sponsors, TPG and Redwood Credit Union, for making this entire Changemakers event series possible for us. I also want to extend a very special thanks to both Julie and Michael Whitcomb for being chairs of our event series this year, and to the entire event committee that is making this possible. As I mentioned, we couldn't do this without you. So to all of you in the audience today, thank you for being with us, for taking some of your important time to listen. And you'll have more opportunities to hear from our students and alumni over the next few weeks. And we thank you again for your very generous support. Today you heard from 4 of our students, soon to be alums. A couple are alums. And we have thousands more students that we're trying to support through their college journey. So we just ask you to think about engaging if you haven't already done so. We would love for you to make a contribution. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you can even honor one of your own change makers, and you can text change to 24365. But please consider engaging with us. You will have, I mentioned, more opportunities to engage with our students and alum, and I think in a moment, some of you have elected to participate in some of the breakout groups. So the link should be in your chat, and it should also be in front of you on your screen. So we welcome you. I believe we have 3 chat rooms or 3 breakout rooms: Marin, Contra Costa, and San Francisco. So please join in. Again, thank you so much. Thank you for being our change makers, and we look forward to seeing you next week, and especially on September 24th. Be well. Good night. Thank you.